The hardest part in building up a secular culture is that secularism takes a lot more mental discipline than most people realize. In a culture based on objectivity of ideas, you don't get to put people down for believing in ideas you don't agree with. It's easy to try to eliminate ideas you don't like by trying to eliminate the people who have those ideas, or by discouraging or preventing those people from saying what they have to say. But people have tried that already. That's not how the objectivity of ideas increases. When you start to think of other people as inherently inferior to you because of their ideas, you've begun to believe something that's convenient in the short term, but isn't true. So you've just thrown secularism right out the window. Don't get me wrong. If you're riding in a plane and some guys jump up and announce that they're members of Al-Qaeda and they're going to crash your plane into a building, don't sit there reminding yourself that they aren't inherently inferior to you because of their ideas. As they say in the military, eliminate the threat before the threat eliminates you. In aviation, they call that take action as necessary to meet the needs of the situation. I am a licensed commercial pilot. When ideas come into conflict in a situation that isn't a matter of life or death, you don't get to cheat on the facts and believe the other person is automatically inferior to you. Even mentally retarded people try to think of the best ideas they can based on their understanding of the situation. Not talking about other people as if they're inferior is harder than most people realize because so much culture is built up around the idea that some people are inferior to others. A lot of minority activists have noticed that. Gerda, the founder of the previous incarnation of the Free Thought Society, is from South Africa. She's never felt like a racist, but some of her black friends there pointed out to her that she still talked like a racist. That's because she learned to talk as a white person who grew up in South Africa. For her, realizing that was a big event that made her start to wonder what other faulty ideas she was supporting. This has another practical value in the development of secular culture. When you start talking about other people as if they're inferior to you, you've taken the first step toward believing it's okay to kill them. If the other people hear you talking about them that way, they aren't going to join your philosophical movement. They're going to try to stop it. Even people who aren't your enemies now, but hear you talking about other people that way, and who can see that the ideas you're using to make your decisions are a lot different from the ideas they're using to make their decisions, are going to have a pretty good idea of what you're going to do when their decisions start coming into conflict with your decisions. This is why conservatism isn't compatible with secularism. And I don't just mean Republicans here. If you feel fairly certain that you will live to your old age, you feel you have a set of ideas about the world that works pretty well. But a lot of people confuse having a good understanding of the world as it affects them with understanding the world as a whole. Then those people talk about things with the attitude that their ideas are most of the truth. This includes people who say there's a lot they don't know about the world, but act as if all those things they don't know will prove that the ideas they're using now are right. So these people obviously do believe they know the things they say they don't know. According to the conservative attitude, other people can know things about the world they themselves don't know. But those other things are either minor or they're wrong. We've all heard that from conservative Christians. But people of all backgrounds can do this. New Age people can do it. Agnostics can do it. I've met a lot of scientists who say that artists can't possibly understand much about reality. I've met a lot of artists who say that scientists can't possibly understand much about reality. Conservatism, wherever you find it, is the attitude that your ideas must be most of the truth. Once you believe that, you believe everyone else is inferior to you. Because you believe that with the intelligence they have, they've only figured out a fraction of the truth you have. This is a physical limitation of the human brain that makes people make mistakes. It isn't possible for any one person to know more than everyone else about every idea. For instance, it isn't possible for a person to live their entire lives in the United States and live their entire lives in Libya. So conservatism is always a religion in effect, because once you believe you know most of the truth, you're trying to invoke supernatural forces to make that so, because that proposal is disproven by known scientific laws. Now here in Arizona, a lot of conservatives are up in arms about immigration. Literally. Back in January, Jared Loughner shot 19 people down in Tucson, including Representative Gabrielle Giffords. The problem isn't that these conservatives are Christians. The problem is that they believe they have a monopoly on the truth. Some religions contribute a lot to that, but anyone can make that mistake. Over on the other end of the spectrum are people who believe that being able to imagine something proves it's real. That's not a solution either. A person could be an agnostic liberal and an agnostic conservative simultaneously if they believed they knew unconditionally that anything people can imagine is real. The problem with people believing in things that aren't real is always that people are trying to get as much as they can in life for as little effort as they can. Most people keep using the ideas they have now as long as they can, and only start looking for new ideas when they discover that their old ideas don't work anymore. That basic fact of human psychology can turn any ideology into a religion. A solution to this depends on what I call the pioneering attitude. The Americas were pioneered twice, of course. This is how people have always made their livings out on the frontiers, where they have to be self-sufficient and they face a lot of danger. They teach you something like this in the military, too. First, you need a healthy respect for what is and isn't possible for a person to do. Then, you need as much diversity as you can get within that framework, so you can generate as many ideas as you can to deal with the broadest possible range of possibilities. When you call yourself an atheist and claim to believe in facts, you're implying a commitment to learn the facts. I've met a lot of atheists who have tried to impress me with how much they know about sociology because they have a degree in physics or something. Getting a degree in physics doesn't really make you an expert at sociology. If you feel it does, you're still trying to invoke supernatural forces because that's the only thing that can get you from your premise to your conclusion. From what I've seen, people doing things like this has basically turned atheism into a religion for college-educated people. Breaking away from religions takes a lot longer than it seems like it should. You connect a lot of ideas together over the course of your life, and especially over the course of your childhood. Religion gives you a profound sense of what life is supposed to be like. Then a lot of people give up the premises of religion and try to use science to get what they still feel they're supposed to have in life. For instance, I've met a lot of computer programmers who are obsessed with the idea that the fact that computing power has increased so much in the past century proves that's the fundamental law of the universe. Well, if you believe you've found a way to use your human abilities without any physical limitations, you believe you've found a path to omnipotence. That completely overlooks the first two laws of thermodynamics, which state that the energy content of the universe is finite and the available energy is constantly diminishing. Which is why stars burn up and radiate all their heat out into the cold of space. So one possibility is that someday computer programmers really will figure out how to build a computer that is so powerful it can rewrite a mathematical law. Another possibility is that these computer programmers who don't believe in religious mythology consciously anymore still do believe in it subconsciously. The point is, being an atheist is a lot harder than believing science automatically gives you the ability to do anything you want. Changing the premises of what you believe changes the conclusions they lead to, but it takes time to figure out how. That's why listening to people of other cultural backgrounds is so valuable, to learn what ideas other people have had, which includes finding out about mistakes you've made that the other people have recognized. Now there's been a secular revolution going on in the Middle East. That's probably the best hope of stopping Al-Qaeda and the Taliban and groups like them. A lot of people have said a lot of things about Islamic fundamentalism and how it affects politics in the Middle East. Now there's a big political movement there of people who have seen it firsthand and who want something else. Well, that version of secularism is going to start out a lot different from secularism in the US, because those people are starting out with Islamic ideas. It will take time for them to find out what ideas other people have had and to develop new ideas on their own. We might have some conflict with them in the meantime. Hopefully they won't attack us with their swords, because if they do, there's no telling who's going to win.